do I think of the Cody situation? It's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting. There was a lot of talk about him not getting on too well with all the other EVPs, your Kenny Omegas, your Young Bucks, even your Tony Khan. I mean, I know he gets along with him, but I mean, like, Cody was always seen as this island. Not always, but later on down the line, in his later years, he was seen as this island. And guys, bear with me a second. I've taken the do-rag off. I feel like restarting it again. So what do I think of the Cody situation? Yeah, I believe that it's quite interesting. There was talk about him not having the best relationship with the EVPs. I mean, not having not the best relationship, but the relationship wasn't as great as it was when they first started out. I think the talk was that it got worse along that later on in his contract, when his contract was starting to expire. Obviously, him and the EVP didn't seem like they were getting along as well. Your Kenny Omegas, your Young Bucks, even to a lesser extent Tony Khan. There was a report that came out that when the video that Tony Khan put out saying that he's like he's at the GM, he's the head booker, he's this, he's that. Apparently, Cody took offense to it because, or didn't, I don't know about took offense to it. Might be the wrong word or phrase, but he didn't like he wasn't happy with the comments made because his legacy, he's trying to fulfill his dad's legacy, or at least trying to keep his dad's legacy alive. And I think being in AEW and being the booker and stuff like that, that was a big part of that. So he wanted to be seen as like the main guy, the head booker, the this, the that, which is part of the reason why I feel he was the guy that was always seen as the guy in charge, quote unquote, in AEW. When every time you had skits and stuff, you had him. He was always the one out of the EVPs, the Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Cody. Cody seemed like he wasn't necessarily with them, and Cody was always the one that came out in the suits. Now that could have been just more like an on-screen persona, but it could have also been what he wanted to be seen as in the company, both by the people in the back, and the people and like the fans and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating here, but that's kind of where I thought, or I think Cody's thinking was in why he feels the way he felt. And I'm seeing and hearing reports that he didn't get what he wanted in regards to money and stuff. And the reason for that was because Tony Khan doesn't necessarily value him as highly as he values himself right now. That he values himself like obviously as a higher commodity. And in my opinion, Cody is a higher commodity. He's a top guy. He's a great. He can be a great baby face. He's a great talker. He's a fantastic wrestler. But with all the people that AEW have now brought in, where Cody originally had a lot of leverage, and where he didn't sign a new contract earlier on before all these new guys come in, now you've got your Adam Coles. Now you've got your Keith Lees. Now you got your Daniel Bryans. Now Bryan Danielsons. Now you got your CM Punks. Now you've got all these big guys that have come in, and Cody's now lost his leverage because he's not seen as that top guy anymore, and that kind of made him lose his bargaining chip, so to speak. So when he's asking for more money, Tony Khan, I think they've just not come to an agreement because, again, he's probably asked for money based on what he feels like he's worth, and Tony Khan's like, no. I think if later on down the line contracts expire and more money becomes available, not saying that Tony Khan can't afford it, but I mean, shedding out a lot of money on another contract, maybe he wants to wait for more contracts to expire before he adds to Cody's. Do you know what I mean? When I'm talking about him waiting for contracts to expire, obviously I'm talking about his AEW contracts of the wrestlers he's already got on his books. But in my opinion, I feel like Cody's gonna make his way back there at some point. It looks like he's gone back to AEW. I haven't seen any news today, so I don't know whether or not a deal has been signed, or if anything's been confirmed, or if there's still just talks going on. I don't know what's happening. He could already be back in WWE for all I know. But something just says to me that he will be back in AEW at some point in his career. The guy's only, what, 37? So, I mean, he should... Personally, I would have stayed in AEW, but WWE could dash a whole load of money at him and just take him off their hands. So there's talk as well that Cody's gone to WWE because WWE still have the rights to a lot of Dusty Rhodes creations, his dad's creations. Maybe he's gone back there to try and get his hands back on them, or maybe he's gone back there to run a deal to see if he can maybe run some of those shows. Like I said, my dream scenario would be that this is all the work and literally he just goes back to AEW right within the next few months or weeks. That one of the storylines that a lot of people said wasn't as good as it could have been was when CM Punk won the WWE title off John Cena, blew a kiss goodbye, climbed over the barricade, and then was back within a few weeks. When really they could have milked it and made him sit at home for ages and then pretend as if he was chilling with the title and wasn't coming back into WWE. There would have been a nice little way to milk that storyline, and they didn't do it. This could be a work, them just pulling the wool over our eyes and making it feel as if Cody's not coming back. But I genuinely feel like he's gone, but I kind of hope he's not. Unless he's going to get the WWE title in WWE, and I genuinely would want to see that. I would love it if he went there and took the title back, but I just don't see it. Brock, book strong. Lashley, book strong. Seth is the guy. Roman, he's not going to come in and beat Roman. So, bearing in mind, before he left last time, he was fighting with the Shield, was he not? It's going to be interesting, isn't it? That's all I'm saying.
Sammy's going to have to... Sammy!